Hello, my friends. Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa Stringworks Man Cave. Got a number of things to cover today, a few things to show, so I think it'll be a good, entertaining vlog for you. First of all, we will have the lesson this evening, assuming I can still talk. And you know, I'm not guaranteeing I won't lose my voice during the lesson. And some of you will say, well, that would be the best thing that could possibly happen. So I don't know. Anyway, we'll see. I have a recommendation for you to listen to someone if you haven't already been listening to them. I know most of you probably do know about these gals. I've mentioned them before, but there's a lot of new viewers. And I can't recommend them highly enough. The Quaby sisters, it's like they spell it like Quebec without the C, so Quaby sisters. I have two links in the description of the video. The first one is, I think, a link to, one of them is a link to Larry's Country Diner. It's just one song. The other one is a full set. It's an hour long, and it's when they were performing at the Kennedy Center. And I defy you, if you start watching the one that's an hour long, I defy you to stop watching in the middle of it. I'm seriously telling you, you can't turn it off. These gals are so incredibly tight in terms of their vocals, in terms of their instrumentation. They play triple fiddles, and you can't tell it's not one fiddle playing a chord. I mean, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. And the songs are fast and swingy, and it's incredible. Why they're not just worldwide famous where everybody knows their name, I have no idea, because they're as good as anybody's ever been. There's just no way you could top them. They're just as good as anybody. And they're singing is exactly the same as they're playing. It's note for note, exactly in time and perfect every single note. Same way with their vocals. It's just incredible. I'm telling you, if you haven't been listening to them, you need to listen to them. It's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. I've been listening to them for many years. Now, the sad thing is, and I haven't verified this, but the sad thing is, I don't know if they're really performing anymore. Somebody will probably put it in the comments. But you don't see very many new videos coming out on them. It's mostly old videos. So anyway, I just thought I'd throw it out there, though, because there's a lot of videos out on the Quaby sisters, and they are just great. Let's see. I was listening to them at 2:30 to 3:30 this morning. So we had visitors in the shop yesterday. Let me show you this. That is on the left there. Carl Payton from Tyler, Texas. And on the right, that's his brother Eric Payton from Litchfield, Illinois. I'm sorry, that's not Illinois. It's Litchfield, Kentucky. There is a Litchfield, Illinois. It's Litchfield or Litchfield. I'm not sure how they pronounce it. Kentucky. And they just came back. They stopped in. They were on their way back from the Banjo Ben Clark's Montana cabin camp. They were up there. One of them was working on mandolin. The other one was working on guitar. And after my stop here at the shop, they were headed down to see the boys, the Chapman boys, down there in Springfield. So we had a nice long visit, talk, and they're talented musicians. You can tell that. They're very good at what they do. And I was really glad to have them stop in and say hi. So Eric and Carl, I enjoyed the visit with you yesterday. Now, on to the never-ending saga with the lawnmower. Well, my friends, the saga of the lawn tractor, at least I feel like 100% sure I've solved what the real problem is. Well, let me rephrase that. I've solved
what the problem is, not the specific cause of the problem. The problem is it is still not getting fuel. Now, I put a new fuel pump on it. That didn't seem to fix it. I put all new fuel lines on it. That didn't seem to fix it. I put a new fuel filter on it. That didn't seem to fix it. I've cleaned the tank. That didn't fix it. The tube that goes down in the tank's clear. Everything's good. Everything's good. Every single thing is good. So why is it not getting gas? Well, the only thing I can think of, and this the next thing I'm going to try, is I do know that this hose here that goes into the carburetor under there where you can't see, I do know that fitting on the carburetor was, very loose. So I put one of these screw down clamps on it, like this. So I tightened it down really tight. In fact, I revisited it and tightened it down again. That's the only place I could see where it might not be working. But then you would think it would be pumping gas, and you would think that it would leak out there. Well, I don't see anything leaking there, so I don't know what the problem is. It just doesn't want to work for me. But yet, I know it's fuel, because if you spray ether in there, it starts right up. It's not a spark problem. It's not a timing problem. It's not a valve problem. It's just not getting fuel. If it gets fuel, it runs. What a pain in the neck.
So, as we speak, and just about 30 seconds or so before we went live, I clicked on the confirmation on the order to order a new electric fuel pump. I'm going to put an electric fuel pump on that thing. And we'll see what that does. It defies description. Those cheap little suction fuel pumps they're all plastic. They come from China or someplace, and they're a dime a dozen. I have a feeling that that's the problem. I know I put several on that machine in the past, but I just put a brand new one on there, but that didn't fix anything. So, well, it seemed to fix it for a day or so, but then it quit again. So I don't know if the fuel pumps quit or what. You can't really tell. I don't know any way to test it other than, well, I guess I could start it up and have it just pump out into a bucket or something, but I didn't try that. But anyway, it's just aggravating, just really aggravating. So I'm going to get an electric fuel pump and bypass all that plastic crud there and see what that does. Anyway, and that's cheap too. I mean, it's less than $10 for an electric fuel pump. So we'll see how it goes. And then the title of the video is about the eave on the trusses here. So here's that video.
Well, my friends, no rest for the weary. Been working on this, making progress, and you can see I've got the other 4 boards over there. So I asked Sue, I said, on this overhang, I could cut through joints and you'd see the ends of these, showing through here. And she said, nope, you can't do that, I already knew she was going to pick the hard solution. So the hard solution is go this way, this way, this way. So I've got to chisel this out to the end of this, to match the end of this. Chisel this one, and of course chisel that one and that one up there. So there's 4 of them I have to chisel out that way on this one side, and 4 that I'll have to chisel out on that one side. One thing about it, I've learned more chiseling skills doing this project. It's been fun, but man, this is a tough project. I'm not going to worry about the joint up there. I'm just going to 45 it, bring them together. I'm done. I just want to get this thing up and working, and that'll be plenty good. So there you go. That's the name of that tune.
Well, that's where I stand. So maybe after taking a nap here, I'm going to head back down there and start chiseling and get those things cut out. because I want to get this thing behind me. I am so tired of working on this project, and it's such a huge project. I knew it when I started it. It was going to be a monster, and it's been eating my lunch, and I can't get nothing else done. I just need to get it behind me. And the only way you're going to get a project like that behind you is to just stay on it. And yeah, otherwise it'll take 10 years. Let's go to the comments and see where we're at. David Thorpe, no, I don't suffer from insanity. I enjoy every minute of it. Yeah, I can kind of relate to that. David Thorpe, I used to have a handle on life, but then it broke. Dottie Hildebrand, prayers for the Rosas. Thank you very much, and for the country. So thank you. David Thorpe, I know many people were shocked when they find out that. They were shocked when they found out I was a lousy electrician. Okay, yep, that could happen. Wavy Gravy, a recent study has found that women who carry a little extra flab live longer than men who mention it to them. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's true. Joe Maloof, hey Jerry, on that motor of yours that won't run, consider checking the magneto ignition coil that cause the symptoms you have. Yep, I've already checked all that. In fact, I took the whole flywheel off last night. I wanted to check the key to make sure the key wasn't bent or something like that. And everything looked perfect. While I had it all apart, I wire wheeled everything, cleaned it all up, and retimed the coils and put it back together and tested the spark. It's got strong spark, and I sprayed a little ether in there, started right up. So yeah, it's just a fuel problem for sure. It's a fuel problem. There is no doubt about it. That's what it is. And I just can't figure out why though. You would think if you bought a new fuel pump, it would work, but I think those cheap fuel pumps are just cheap. I think that's what the problem is. The freeze can't stick around. Well, I hope you come back. Carolyn Fike. Let's see. All right. There's no question marks. Let me see. I'm looking for question marks. The freeze. Hope you're feeling better, Jerry. Well, thank you. I don't feel terrible. I just don't feel good. And throat's getting a little sore. And the lung thing is what drives you crazy. Walt Willard. Good afternoon, everyone. I finally made it back to the live log. Well, good. Glad you're here. David Thorpe. I was going to try almond diet, but that's just nuts. Well, believe it or not, David, that's kind of the diet I'm on. For lunch these days, all I'm eating, well, I'll eat a little small smoked sausage thing, the little skinny ones about the size of your little finger. Eat one of those, and I'll eat a little bowl full of nuts, and that's all I'm eating for lunch. No lettuce. B.H. Ringer, HID JP Cormier visit. I don't know what the HID stands for there, but HID, whatever that means, I don't get it. JP Cormier visit yesterday. He was live from the acoustic shop last night. Well, that's cool. The JP seems like a nice fella. He's commented on some of my videos and things before, and he's always real nice. It'd be kind of cool if he stopped up here. So, JP, if you're happen to see this, come on by. Let's see. Ronald Todd, Jerry, after hearing you this afternoon, you might want to reconsider the lesson tonight. I'd hate to see you lose your voice. I'm still reworking the old lessons. Yeah. Well, you're probably right. If I had any sense at all, I would cancel it. And I probably should, but I'll think about it here. Let's see. Gary Hayden. Jerry, did you see my post yesterday about the ARC Captain website? No, I don't think so. If you sent me an email, I haven't even been in the email, so I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I've been on the Art Captain website, but I don't know what your post was about. Ronald Todd, you can always finish the bird mouse with a handsaw instead of using the man killer saw. It's not easy to do, and yeah, but you're right. If I had a good sharp handsaw, the ones I've got, they cut, but they're not real sharp. Newton Horn, that's bow horn. Can you use a router to cut notches? Yeah, I guess I could on this. That might even be the best way on this particular problem, since these are blind tenons, or whatever you want to call them. Mortises, I guess, is really the better word. But anyway, they're blind. They don't come out to the end. So yeah, a router probably would be the better way to go on this. But I'll get them done one way or the other. Wavy Gravy, I did a little indoor work yesterday, and when my wife just found out I replaced our bed with a trampoline, she hit the ceiling. Preston Johnson, Jerry, can you use a plunge router on those chisel cuts? Yeah, well, that's a good idea. I think I will use a router. What I had envisioned, and I wasn't thinking, I'm not a big router guy, to be honest with you. I really don't like routers that much. I don't know why. I just never have. It's just never been my thing. I've used them a lot. So it's, but I don't get into it like most woodworkers do. Most woodworkers just use routers all the time. I rarely do. But so I didn't even think about it. So I'm glad you guys brought that up, because that did bring it to the forefront here. And yeah, that's probably the best way to do it. What I still probably will do, though, before I even put a router to it, is I'm going to make saw cuts going up to that blind line. I'll just take saws and go in there. And of course, the saw cuts like this, so it'll come up to the blind line. That way, all I have to do is route out that little bitty piece there. I can chisel out, knock out the big stuff real quick, because actually that's faster than the router for me. The dang routers, I mean, they're good, but they're just not my tool. I don't know why. They're just not. But in this case, a router is probably the best option. Wavy Gravy, I did a little indoor work yesterday. Oh, I think I've lost my place. Sorry. Simon Jardine, that would be my choice. Newton, yep. And chisel out the corners, yep. Ben Boyd, would running the lawn tractor from an entirely separate fuel source help isolate the problem? Well, sort of, kind of. It runs when you spray ether in there, and that's a separate fuel source, if you will. So, it's just not getting fuel pumped from the tank up there. So I think if I just put an electric fuel pump on the darn thing, and then, of course, just test to make sure that's working, it's got to work. I mean, I don't see how it could not work. So I'm going to try that and just see what happens, because I'm really over those stupid little plastic suction fuel pumps. They're junk. David Tharp, what do you get when you cross a polar bear with a seal? A polar bear. Okay. Don't get that one. And like I said, sometimes they just go over my head. I'll get it 15 minutes from now. Red Jansen, did you use a self-priming pump? Maybe use a pump inside the fuel tank. Yeah, well, those, I don't know. I've never had to prime it before. When I first put the new one on, it filled the darn fuel filter up. That's a bigger fuel filter. It filled it completely up. So I thought, well, it's working. And it did work for a little while. Then it quit working. So I don't know. It's like it got progressively worse, by the way. Like when this whole problem first started, it would only fail under certain conditions. And it's gotten to the point now where it won't even start. So it's just like it's gotten worse as I worked on it. Which just doesn't make sense. Because I've been working on the same thing the whole time. You'd think, well, surely. I mean, I'm no idiot when it comes to these things. I kind of know what I'm doing. Yet it's just not doing it. I don't know how to explain it. I just don't get it. Bears eat seals. Yeah, I know that, but I still don't get that. When you cross... Oh, I got you. Oh, now I do get you. Yeah, all right. Gotcha. All right. It just took a while. And I'm going to blame it on being sick. Yeah, there you go. Nancy Mills. Ronald is very fast at typing. Okay, guys. I'm blaming not getting that joke on just being sick. You can take it any way you want to. I hate to cancel the lesson tonight, but I think I better. I really think I better, because if anything, I'm getting worse. I can feel it in my ears now and my throat and everything. So I think I'm officially going to cancel the lesson. So I'm sorry. And we won't have it next week, Thursday, because we'll be doing the live show, assuming I can still talk. We'll be doing the show either way. I just won't be singing, if that's the case. But either way, we'll get through this, and I'm sorry, but I am going to go ahead and just cancel the lesson tonight. It just doesn't make sense at this point, especially the way I feel. Send the tractor to Musty. No, I'm not sending it anywhere. My wife says, should we take it to that lawn guy down there? And I'm going like, yeah, right. He's going to figure this out. I already know what the problem is. I know what the problem is. It's not getting fuel. Why is it not getting fuel? That's the problem. And, I should have just taken the hose off the output end of the fuel pump, and that would tell me. I didn't do that, so that's probably where the problem is, and maybe I'll do that later today. Anyway, Dottie says, go to the doctor. And, yeah, send the tractor to Musty One. Yeah, I know that name. I can't remember who that is, though. It must be somebody that works on small engines. I'm sure I've seen a video or two of theirs, but there's a lot of people who work on small engines. And you can believe what you want, but I know pretty much every single thing about those small engines. Everything. This one just, it's like you fix one thing and something else happens. It's like it's just that Rosa luck. You can believe what you want. You can believe whatever you want. But it's like you do one thing and something completely opposite happens, and you're going, how did that do that? And that's what's happening here. It's like this should have already been fixed by now, because I knew from the beginning, if you go back to the very first time, I've been saying it's a fuel problem, and it's been a fuel problem the whole time, and I'm sure that's what it is. Because like I said, you spray ether in there and it runs. It's just not getting fuel. And that's a trick for you guys. If those of you who are working on your own thing, if you can't get your engine to start, spray a little ether, starting fluid is what it's called. Spray a little starting fluid in there. And if it starts up, there's your problem. You're not getting fuel. Where you spray it is you spray it into the air cleaner. You take the air cleaner off and you spray your starting fluid down in there, and then that goes directly into the carburetor, sucks it right into the cylinder, and it'll fire. Now, if that doesn't make it fire, then the odds are it's your spark. You're probably not getting spark. If it's the other possibility, I mean, it's unlikely. I mean, it could be air, but it's very unlikely at that point if you got the air cleaner off. could be compression. You may not be, your cylinder may be wore out, and that could be the reason it's not running. But it's unlikely to. So most of the time, your problems are either spark or fuel. It's one of those two. But the other two components are you got to get air and you got to get compression. If you get those four things, the engine will run. In my case, I'm not getting fuel, so that's why it's not running. Okay. Yeah, Ronald Todd says there could be something big in the gas tank that's plugging the hole. Nope, because I took the whole gas tank out, turned it upside down, dumped everything out of it, vacuumed it out, put one of those bore scopes down in there, looked all over. There's nothing in that tank. So that I know. Yeah, trust me, you can't do more than I've done. Nobody could. You could take it to the best mechanic on the planet, and they would not do any more than I've done. I guarantee you. Michael Love, recheck your measurements on the hanging rafter. It looks like you have the cut out part backwards. Huh. Okay. I've rechecked them. It's not backwards. So I'm sure of that. Let's see. Preston Johnson, have you taken a COVID test? I'm 79 and just over the weird strain of COVID. It affected me very much like your symptoms. I took Pfizer meds, immediately got better. I don't think it's COVID, but I do think I have a COVID test down there. I'll double check it, but I'm 99% sure it's not COVID. I get this. I couldn't even tell you how many times I've got this. I bet it's been 100 times in my life, like twice a year, dang near every year. The last few years, oddly enough, I hadn't got it as much, mostly because I've been staying on my allergy meds. And anyway, plus I haven't been out in the woods sitting in cedar trees and things like I used to do with the bow and arrow all the time. Charles was inside fuel lines collapse due to age underload. They're brand new fuel lines. How Mark is? I haven't heard about Mark anymore as far as an update. I would like to know how he's doing myself. Let's see. Garland Edmondson, you might want to buy a low-pressure fuel pump. I did buy a low-pressure fuel pump. And it's specifically for things like this. Rudd Jansen, pull the fuel line to the carb and see if it pumps out. Pull the fuel line to the carb and see if it pumps out. I don't know what you mean by that, but all I'll do is just pull the fuel line off of the carb, and if that's what you're saying, and see if it pumps out. That's what I said I would test this afternoon. But I am 99% sure that's got to be it. I mean, even with a brand new fuel pump, like I said, that's just the typical Rosa luck thing. You can believe what you want. Like I said, if it can, it usually does with me. And it'll fool you, like it doesn't do it right away. It starts off perfect. Like I said, it was perfect. Then it progressively got worse. What else went wrong? Did something else go wrong that I wasn't thinking about? That's what threw me off and made me think about maybe it's the coils or something like that, because the fuel pump was working perfectly. You could tell when you put it on there, it's working. And then it got progressively worse and worse and worse, and everything just went downhill. And so I thought maybe it was something else, like just coincidental that the spark went out now instead of fuel. So maybe it switched from fuel to spark, but it didn't. It's fuel. It's just fuel. Time for a new lawn tractor. No, it's not. It's perfect lawn tractor. Any lawn tractor can give you a trouble like this. Trust me. Any of them can. Brand new ones can. You can buy the newest. I mean, like, look at a new vehicle. You bring them home and take them right back to the dealer half the time, Anything can cause you a problem. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do is pull the fuel pump off, our fuel line off. But anyway, it'll work. I know this is going to fix it. I know it will. It's just that it's just doing the Rosa thing and causing as many problems as it can cause. It just does that. It's been my whole life. You think I'm kidding? I'm not kidding about that. It could be a vapor lock, yeah. It's a possibility, but I don't know why it would vapor lock, considering, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. Now, though, the other reason I'm pretty sure it's the fuel pump is because it's not filling up the fuel filter now, so anyway, I'm done. I will see you tomorrow if I'm still alive. Talk to you then.